play me.
Hello, Detective Banks. Do you know where your officers are?
Hi, we're back. This is Matt.
And this is Katie, and this is Movies and Mischief with Matt-n-Katy, and we just watched Spiral.
From the Book of Saul.
From the Book of Saul, thank you, I was trying to remember that. Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson, Matt, how does he pronounce his last name?
Minghella.
Max Minghella, and that's pretty much anybody from the cast that I recognized. Chris Rock plays a detective who is investigating a series of murders. Copycat murders.
Sam Jackson is the former chief of police, who's also his dad.
Yeah.
Now retired.
Max plays
his new partner.
His new partner.
His rookie partner.
So it takes place within the world of Saw. It's loose. I guess it's loosely connected to the other movies.
After the original Saw dude has been caught and dealt with.
Yeah, I don't think you need to watch. I mean, Katie and I both are not big fans of the Saw franchise.
I only watched the first one.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 and then got bored with them, so I haven't seen any of them after that.
But I don't think you need to. Yeah. I don't think you need to watch them. You know from what they say that it's somebody that's kind of copycatting what that dude was doing.
So what'd you think?
Overall, I thought it was pretty well done. They always go too far for me. They always are very gratuitous in the gore and the torture. It's always too much. It's like they don't trust you to understand what's happening. I don't know what Chris Rock was doing. He had this Clint Eastwood thing the whole time. The whole time I was like, open your eyes. What are you doing? Through the whole movie. There were some decent red herrings. One part of it I had figured out, but they did throw me on who it was in the beginning. I thought it was somebody that it absolutely was not. So they had some good red herrings, but it was fine. I mean, if you like the Saw movies, you're going to like this. It's not anything,
Yeah, they weren't breaking any molds with this one. I agree with you. It was okay, but it wasn't anything. It didn't get me excited about anything. I thought that there was a whole. I didn't have any problem with the effects, the torture scenes. I thought they were actually a little toned down from what I'm used to seeing in the past films that I have watched.
Probably.
I did appreciate that it was practical effects. I didn't recognize any digital blood in this one. They were definitely practical effects. I think that there's a couple points in the film where I thought that there were convenient coincidences that occurred, where, and I don't want to say anything specific, but there's just a couple of moments where something happens that felt like it was purposely placed there to move the characters in that direction. And there were a lot of very annoying quick cuts and shaky cam kind of stuff going on in this. That was really bugging me. There was some
flashback stuff that they did that with a lot.
I was going to mention that too. There's a lot of flashbacks in this, and I found them kind of confusing. Well, not confusing,
they were a little confusing because there were a lot of weird cuts. There's a point where it goes from the story they're telling to Samuel Jackson's character all of a sudden that we haven't seen for a while, and you're like, is this in the past, or is this where he's been, or is this happening now?
They used flashbacks to fill in all the exposition, and it wasn't done, in my opinion, it wasn't done in a good way.
No. I think if they had not tried to set this in the world of Saw, and they really only did it so that they could, let's play a game thing.
Yeah.
But I think they would have had a more solid story if they had just played it straight.
Well, which leads
and
me...
just made it a kind of, I don't want to say what was going on, but if they had just set up what was happening from the beginning and just followed that as a straight story, it would have been a much stronger movie.
Yeah. And it reminded me a lot in just the overall aesthetic of a movie like Seven.
Yeah. But not as well done.
It was, not as well done. It's very...
But brighter.
Well,
it wasn't as dark as Seven. You could actually see what was happening.
I mean, and it was lighter, but there was some weird color palette choices that I didn't quite get what was going on. The other thing that kind of bugged me was it had a little bit of the Spike Lee effect going. It was pretty obvious they were trying to say something about police brutality and police being out of control.
For sure. That was not subtle at all.
There was nothing subtle about it. And in defense of the Saw franchise, they're not subtle movies. They never have been. But it's a weird thing when horror is often a really good, and first of all, I guess this can be combined as horror.
This is definitely a horror movie.
It's a horror thriller, but horror can be a really good vehicle to kind of talk about social issues, but you have to be careful that it's not, in my opinion, you have to be careful that it's not kind of a, holding it up in your face.
Oh, they totally beat you over the head.
Which this one they do. And that took me out of the story a bit, especially towards the end.
And then it got very muddy. It
got very muddy, and the ending, I actually didn't have any problem with the ending. I kind of liked the way it ended, but I still have some questions about how it was able to end that way.
Yeah.
How did they not see a certain character standing there?
Yeah.
But again, that could go to the police focus is always on the people with dark skin.
Well, and
it just was a little weird to me.
Yeah, there's a weird thing where it's like, why were they acting like this was the only way into this area where they ended up, where it clearly wasn't, and there were a lot of weird procedural things. There's a point in the beginning where someone gets their purse snatched, and the cop follows the purse snatcher down underground into a subway tunnel. I don't know any cop that's going to do that for a purse snatching.
Yeah, that was one of those convenient...
It is not going to happen. They are not going to do that. It's going to be, sorry, lady, your purse is gone. File a police report. I'm not going down there by myself underground to run into who knows what. There was a couple things like that I was just like, they're not going to split up.
That was one of those convenient coincidences.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
So overall, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I think that if you're looking for a nice thriller, I agree with Katie. It does have some decent... I think the structure of the story is good enough to kind of keep you guessing as to what's going on.
Yeah, you definitely stayed invested.
It's a good thriller.
Keep trying to figure out who's behind it.
If you enjoyed movies like Seven and Silence of the Lambs, and you can stomach a high level of makeup effects, gore effects, then I think this is a decent.
Horrifying.
They were gore effects.
There was
effects. For someone who doesn't watch a lot of horror.
There was really only one.
No, each of them.
That was the only one. As somebody who has issues with body horror and that kind of thing, there was really only one that skeeved me out pretty hard.
Yeah. I think they were all... I thought the effects were really... That was my favorite part of the entire film.
No, the effects were really good. I'm just saying, if you're not somebody who watches those kinds of movies a lot, where there's a lot of...
a tough watch. Yeah. I think it would be a tough watch for someone.
For sure. If you watch them a lot, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So do you have any final thoughts on this one?
I'm going to have to go after you.
I will tell you this, always be aware of your surroundings.
That's a good one.
Always be aware of your surroundings. I thought that was a little odd that these are trained police officers and had no idea what was around them. there was a lot of times when I was like, come on, really? They snuck up on you that easily?
Yeah. I'll go with that too.
All right.
I will steal your final thought as mine.
All right, that's fine. It's lazy as usual. All right. So, Saw, it's currently streaming on, we rented it on Amazon Prime. It's another one of those $20 rentals. Amazon Prime, loved it. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. Katie's kind of in the same boat.
Yeah. I would have preferred it if they had just reworked the story that they were telling in a different way.
They didn't have to put it in the Saw world. I think it would have
been a stronger story.
I feel like they put it in the Saw world just to get some attention to it. But
yeah.
So, all right, so that's it. We're going to let you guys go, and I'm
going to go beat him up for that comment that he made earlier.
Oh, whatever. We're going to see you next time. Bye, guys.